Listen, this is Dr.Nikki Zeigler with the Convo with Dr.Nikki Zeigler. Listen, I decided to partner with Tiffany Denise Bell, which is a dear friend of mine, and we have this amazing conference that's coming up. So as you can see, I'm interviewing so many amazing men and women who are tapping into the nonprofit realm because she's the founder of the Nonprofit CEO Summit. So if you have not registered for this summit, you're about to miss out. She has put together some amazing speakers, teachers, consultants, coaches all over the world. And listen, they're coming on my show all day today. I'm celebrating, I'm motivating, I'm learning, I'm shifting, I'm receiving. And so today has been just a day of just receiving all kind of skills, people with different mindset, and they are poured into me just like they are poured into you. So right now, I want you to go ahead and share this live. I promise you the gentleman that I have coming up is simply amazing. Very great at what he do. I call him an expert. I've been watching him for years. And we've been in some rooms together, but we never had a chance to collaborate. So this is going to be a very interesting interview. And I feel like he has so much to offer us. And I want you guys to pay attention, listen, ask questions, because it's going to be a conversation and a lot of dialogue. So if you know he's talking your language, let him know he's doing a great job. If you got some questions, listen, he's on this live and he's going to answer some of these questions. So let's go ahead and bring in, I'm going to call him Reverend Dr. William E.Flippin Jr. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing great, Dr. Nikki Zeigler. Yes, it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure meeting you too. Let's go ahead and get into it. What made you decide to join the nonprofit CEO Summit? What made you decide to join in?
Well, I'm on a lot of nonprofit boards. Even though the company that I'm endeavoring is not nonprofit, but I have a lot of respect for nonprofit leaders. Number one is that usually they are birthing their baby. That comes from a lot of risk and entrepreneurship, truly. And the way that they get their money is through a lot of times grants. And, and it's hard to do that in this age of COVID, but it's even harder when you have impending deadlines and other things. So I just have had a great respect, number one, for particularly nonprofit CEOs, but also as a pastor, a lot of care for them too as well, because I know as many other leaders, CEOs, what have you, or people, they're going through a lot of trauma. So it's also, so the motivation comes from the traumatic elements for them to make sure that their commitment to what they birth will continue, and also to see of new ways to make sure that they can find funding or other things, creative, innovative things besides relying on some grants.
So let's talk about the trauma aspect of it. Give me your outtake of trauma in your world.
I mean, just being African descent with fleecy locks, I actually believe that we are embedded with trauma from birth. That comes from our DNA. But notwithstanding to that, let's just say with the pandemic itself, it's traumatic. Even with 9/11, the thing that got us through that, and we're still dealing with that, at least we can be in community. And I believe that no matter whether you're introvert, extrovert, or where you are in the scale, we're social creatures. We need people. So that's traumatic in itself. And also, it comes from my own personal testimony where for the first time, I've been married for 18 years. And the first time in my marriage, work became an idol. That usually if I feel like I'm working too much, I can say, okay, honey, let's go to the symphony you've been talking about. I need to take a break to spend time with you. But reality is that you become so consumed with Zoom and the everyday thing, and not really, for me, and you see me at a lot of social events, what really got me to integrate and be a part of the family and the circle of life is going to social events. They kind of helped out a lot as opposed to being almost a robot in Zoom calls. Now, other people I've heard say they like Zoom calls and all of that. So I'm speaking on me, the traumatic aspect for me, that I've worked harder than I've ever done in my life, and still needed to feel those connections with socially and missing people, missing human interaction, and most importantly, being disconnected, not necessarily that it's public or anything like that, with doing the things with my family, God, family, job, and it was out of order.
There you go. But you know what? I think I can honestly say the same thing for me as well. That's why I kind of lean towards Clubhouse. I've been enjoying Clubhouse because you get a chance to talk and dialogue.
Right.
I'm a social person as well. I love going to events. I'm just that person because in my life, because I'm a natural salesperson or a coach, when I go into a room, Pastor Williams, I like to go in knowing nobody and leaving knowing everybody. I like going into the room with people who I don't know, because in my head, when I get in here, I get a chance to talk. They don't know who I am, so I get a chance to kind of glean and learn people. And so I miss that. I miss that tremendously, because now people are afraid to talk. They're afraid to, they're very afraid to converse unless it's on Facebook or unless it's, on Clubhouse. But you are so right. I didn't think about it until you said that we have really been consumed working. We have been working.
Consumed working, I'm known for my bear hugs. I just miss human interaction of hugging and just being in community. And I'm the exact same way. I often wonder when I go to family reunions and you see this, why do people go to family reunions and they stay with their whole family the whole time? The purpose is to meet other people. I try to deliberately. I go to cities, and this is one of my habits. I try to figure out the subway system. So I try to figure out the subway system. So, when I lived in Philadelphia, when I went to Boston for a day trip just because I hadn't been, I tried to figure out the subway system. Just sometimes you have to be in an element that people don't know you or you feel uncomfortable to try to figure it out. And miss that. So trauma is embedded. It's no accident that people are at this point. It's a labor shortage. Have you seen like at Outback and restaurants, they're begging people to work?
Begging. They doing either bonuses, sign-in bonuses to work. I'm like, what kind of mess is this?
Sign-in bonuses. The begging people to work. People are some people say, well, it's because we're getting unemployment and then that the moratorium with the housing and stuff like that. But people rather. One of the elements, and this is me just kind of being a supervisor over other people. I don't like to use the word supervisor. You have to appreciate employees because they're at this point now where they just rather not work because of the realities of that. So the traumatic, and it's going to continue. It's going to continue on for years to come. So I believe that nonprofit CEOs and others have to devise new ways to find ways of intuition to understand that the business models of performance, administration, entrepreneurship, and integration, that we don't get obsessed with performance, but also know how to deal with people.
Oh, that's good.
Deal with people. Now, my favorite Zoom call, I've had probably like 300 in the last 15, 16 months. No, probably 18 months. You know what my favorite Zoom call was?
Yes.
This is my absolute favorite. One day I had a routine Zoom call, and I could tell within 2 minutes that person didn't want to be on a Zoom call. They probably had 5 or 6 straight hours. I said, look, whatever I have to talk to you about is not important. Let me pray for you. And they cried over the phone. That's my favorite Zoom call. Because I felt like I had the intuition and the compassion that Jesus had, that you can pick up. You're human first. If something is that important for performance, it's I don't want to be a product. I always want to be like the woman with the issue of blood. That Jesus, he had a schedule. He had to go somewhere, but he took the time to say, "Whoa, this is not planned, but let me address this at this particular point."
Right, I like that.
And we have to be that. We have to be practitioners. I tell people all the time, I'm known as a church growth strategist or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you the MVPs are the practitioners. Those who are the pastors, they're the MVPs. Those are the people who didn't go to seminary to learn about social media. That have to deal with their own trauma and also the trauma, the traumatic elements that have not been even addressed yet. And that's where PTSD comes in later on. You're going to have people hollering and screaming, can't even walk into a church. It's going to come. So we have to be prepared and sensitive for that. Big time, I'm telling you.
And I deal with that all the time. My husband's a pastor. So,
right.
We see that all the time. And people put so much weight on the pastor. But what they got to understand, they're human just like everybody else. And I tell my husband that all the time, baby, you're good. Like, you're good. Like, you don't get stressed out. Don't worry about who's not coming. Because, they so used to people being in their face. And now it's like, you might get 15 people. You might get 100 people to come to church. We're used to 1,000. So now it's like they gotta conform to this new change like everybody else.
Right.
Now people are leaving the church and joining a whole new church online. It's I'm sorry, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. But I love this. I love this conversation because people don't like talking about what you're talking about. They try to avoid the word trauma in the body of Christ, or try to avoid the word trauma in nonprofit, knowing that it's right before your face, and you don't want to address it all because you're walking on eggshells. Yeah. These are conversations that need to be addressed. That's why I'm so happy you're speaking at the nonprofit CEO, because they need to hear this language. They need to hear this teaching because it's going to make them think. Mm-hmm. If you go to a conference, Pastor Williams, and you just learn, you listen, and some stuff you already know, then why you're going. You have to go to conferences that will help you crack your brain open to make you think. And I think you will push us to that level to make us think. We got to think.
What does it take a Nike CEO? Nike's doing well. I mean, Phil Knight is worth, I think, $8 billion. Surely to God, if Nike says, we're going to give our employees a 1-week mental break, and if I really investigated it, I bet it's somebody higher up who really probably had a nervous breakdown. Why does it take a person such as Jeff Bezos to say the circle of life is not work-life balance, but it's integrating all those aspects of family, life, and even spirituality together? Mm-hmm. Why does Google have to lead to say, okay, we're going to have flex hours where you determine your hours as long as you can innovate in those? Why do they have to lead the way? The church should be the headlights, not the taillights of change.
You know why? Because the respect for the church is gone. Mm-hmm. I'm honest. You know what I'm saying? The respect for the church is gone now. People have gotten so complacent with church. They've gotten so common with their pastor. Yeah. The respect is just not there. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, a lot of pastors made a lot of mistakes. Church started leaving them. We say we're the body of Christ, but sometimes we don't live like what Jesus would want us to. And no, we're not perfect, but we, what I'm saying? We just got to change that mindset, but we can't change it. I'm talking about me too, because I'm a pastor's wife. Mm-hmm. We can't change that mindset until we admit what we fall at, where our shortcomings come. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You're right. We should be the head. We should be the leaders.
Yes.
But, you know what I'm saying? But we don't even like being corrected. Well, who he think he is to correct me? Well, God will send anybody, a dog, a cat, a baby, to correct you. But it's up to you to be a listening ear and listen and submit to what he's showing you. He'll teach you through anybody, but you got to be teachable. And most pastors and leaders have gotten so arrogant, Pastor Williams, that they don't want to listen because they think they have already arrived. Mm-hmm. So I think that's that. If I was to say, it would be that right there about the church. We just got to do better. And we got to start accepting our wrong.
Mm-hmm. And I believe in the church. I believe that this could be a revival. But I tell you this, and I'm speaking this as a church strategist. And Black Lives Matter, first of all, didn't come out the church. So that shows you the irrelevance of the church. But I have hope within the church. Right. But I don't care if you have the greatest strategy known to man. If you're trying to do it on yourself, that the way that we're going to get out of this is to revisit Acts 2, the day of Pentecost. I'm not saying we have to shout it out, because this traumatic element is more than just shouting it out or having good worship. Mm-hmm. But we have to really come into that Holy Spirit moment, that spirituality moment, to find those things within ourselves. Because, PTSD is going through the motions without dealing with the realities of your buddy head being blown off, or those things. It comes out in dreams, it comes out in other things. So we need to really, really reflect. In fact, I really want to urge CEOs to allow a sabbatical for their employees to rest, to not feel guilty about taking vacation.
Wow. And they make them feel that way. All because, and not, the smaller CEOs, because they don't have the manpower.
That's true.
To help people to be there to work. So when you say you take vacation,
right?
I earned it. Yes, I'm taking my vacation.
Right.
So you saying making me feel bad about taking vacation, you should be happy I'm taking one, because when I come back, guess what? I'm refreshed, I'm renewed, I'm revived, and I can fulfill the assignment that you have given me. But if I can't hardly breathe, I can't say, well, I'm gonna take a week off. Something's wrong. I just went through that with my herbacers. I own a company called the Herpreneur Network. I'm like, I gotta get some rest.
Right.
And they still a text, they still a call. I'm like, I specifically said I'm resting.
Right.
Well, you got this, baby. Listen, I'm just gonna forget it because I need that time.
That's
but
right.
if you don't demand it, then guess what? In this time of season, you won't get it.
Right. Right.
You turn your cell phone off. Turn the laptop off. And I try, which I'm a workaholic myself. I can't lie. I love working, but we got to get to the point where we let people rest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that selfishness come in at. You're selfish. You are very selfish because you want to allow your people to get the time they need so they can come back and fulfill the assignment that you paying them for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Son of Man rested. Jesus showed throughout the Bible where he took rest. I don't know if he was an introvert, but he rested. He went to the mountains to refresh himself, to rest. God himself, God in God's creation, rest. Even mechanical things need to rest. TVs need to rest. Animals need to rest. Things need to rest. Plug your TV and those sort of things to rest, because if that's not the case, people will be burned out. They will resent work. They will resent authority. All kinds of things. So we have to deal with that. But I want to also say this. The main thing of my talk too is to say, okay, these are the realities, the traumatic. Mm-hmm. Let's be real about it. But also there is transformation within that.
Ooh,
I believe that transformation, you can't be done in a conference. It's might not be manifest in the next 4 or 5 years. But the transformation is to set tables, set ways. I'm not calling the man cave, where CEOs can form peer groups, where they can talk about those things, because they have to always be the ones that are stronger, that they can form peer groups to be at the forefront of what it is, and also to listen and to legislate to change the laws as well.
I think that's what this conference is all about. This summit is all about. You got people like you who can help CEOs. Then you got CEOs who speak it on their behalf.
Right.
And you got the people that's listening to you and the CEOs. And then you got, what I'm saying? It's so, I was just telling Tiffany, it's so many components that could come from this summit. Absolutely. That's going to be simply amazing. Even, you got people, I just did an interview with a guy named Brian McNeil. He's a sales coach. Yeah. He came in and he spoke on how to better pitch yourself, Right. So it's all different aspects of nonprofit with this summit that's going to be simply amazing. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say. I cannot wait to hear all these dynamic speakers, because y'all not holding back. We need people like you to just tell us how it is so we can grow and go on. We got to do it. We got to do it.
Well, with all this together, with God's grace, we made perfect in weakness. So we're all ever evolving, and I believe that we can be transformed, not by ourselves. I mean, I get prayed out, speaking tongues, but we have to really form together in community, which we're missing. It's going to be hard for people even to acclimate themselves back in community. I mean, George Barner says that 20% of those are not even going to ever show up in the church again. They're too used to wearing pajamas and pancakes and looking things online. They'll never walk back into a church. Now, that's not... Yeah, never walk, but that's not a measure of success of how many members and stuff. But that is a metric that we're used to, so we have to deal with that. So if the church or other institutions are dealing with that metric, or hospitality is dealing with that metric, it's no accident that Wendy's will open 2,500 ghost kitchens. So hospitality is far along than the church. They say, okay, and then Reef Kitchens are saying we're going to build restaurants within the community. We got the demographics, so we'll come to them. So why can't the church be innovative where we say, well, we can look at the demographics and look at that, use the money that we do other things, the demographics, and we come to the people, whether they are in Timbuktu isolated on Zoom, as opposed to just being satisfied how many likes we get on Zoom and those sort of things. Because I'm going to tell you.
I'm going to say this right here. I went to Birmingham yesterday, and my hairstylist, she did my hair. We went to Chick-fil-A yesterday. And when we pulled up a Chick-fil-A, I was like, where's the drive-thru? This particular Chick-fil-A didn't have a drive-thru at all.
Right.
We have to park our cars. You know how Sonic was when you have to park the car, push the button, and order? All over. I told her, I said, I promise you, this is a model of what's going to happen with Chick-fil-A.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't go inside the store at all anymore. You can't even go inside at all. You have to park your car. They don't even have a drive-thru anymore. And so I'm looking like, this is about to be crazy. Think about it.
Already in Japan, watch out for this. This is going to happen probably in the next 6 or 7 years. Now, the first thing that's going to happen is going to be ghost kitchens. They're going to take over at Walmart. So you have 25, 26 restaurants that you're familiar with, and while you're shopping, because people go to Walmart, you can order your food. That's the next wave. Then the next wave is what they're already doing in Japan. Is like how you go to what is that video thing where you basically can pick your videos, not like Blockbuster, but you get some box.
Drop the red box.
Red box. Restaurants are going to be like that. I give it about maybe 10, 12 years, maybe sooner than that, 5 years, where basically you can get your food, and then all the person does daily is refill what you got based on inventory.
So guess what? Let's take us back. I think you and I are around the same age. The only thing they're doing is the Jetsons. We've been knew about this.
Absolutely. That's going to all be a part with robotics and all of that. Yep.
I'm like, who is, even when I went to Walmart the other day, I was so disappointed. I was just like, oh my God. It was like 3 cashiers the whole time. I was just like, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, even the big buckets, you know how they say, well, 10 items or less, like, no, that's gone. Like, I'm like, this is crazy. Nothing but robots.
Human labor versus intuition and feelings. So we have to deal with that. But you know what? We should be at the forefront of those conversations.
We should have.
And we can. We can. Based on this conference, I'm talking to nonprofit CEOs and others. We're going to learn from each other. And we're going to learn from each other. We're going to be transformed. And we're going to lead the way. Bill Gates and others will start calling us for consultation advice.
I receive that. We need it.
Yeah.
I receive it. And even with your mindset for you to speak that like that, like, because, I deal with a lot of pastors. I deal with pastors all the time. You know what I'm saying? But like you say, it's their mind. You got to be, we have to bring in people like you to kind of transform and shift their mindset. Because they want to give up. Half of them want to shut their doors. They don't have any hope. Hope has left them. So it's so important for people like you. That's why I'm glad she's doing this summit. It's time to wake up. It is time to wake up.
September 14th is going to be iPhone 13 will be introduced. In Singapore, they saw iPhone 13, they'll say, what is this crap? They probably have iPhone 16, 17. So that's what we have to be as a church. We have iPhone 17 expectations, but a flip phone mentality.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
With a flip phone mentality, flip phone money, flip phone resources, but we have iPhone 17 expectations. That's unfair, especially when you're dealing with trauma.
Oh God, that's good, man. I got to bring you back on my show. This is really good. I have really enjoyed dialoguing and speaking to you because you have so much talent, so much information.
It's good to see you. It's good to see. I look forward to giving you a bear hug when I see
you. Yes. So what's next for you?
Well, I'm just, I look at myself as an ecumenist, a pastor. Ecumenist, and people say, what is an ecumenist? Ecumenist is one that tries to find the similarities of denominations and then from there find social statements. So I'm always at the core. This is what I love to do, is to have conversations, real conversations, authentic conversations, and then we come up with a document to change laws, to advocate, and to change society together with what we have said. So I'm just discerning. I'm doing a lot of things entrepreneurially. I'm a franchise consultant. I help businesses franchise themselves, but also I put people in franchises and the ethics of that to tell them the ethics of, you might not, even if you're approved for $500,000 for a franchise, let me tell you let me let you look at the FDD, to look at documents, to tell you, to guide you. So,
which one makes sense?
Yeah,
For you?
So ethics, the ethical realities of
Okay.
sharing data, but also helping those reach their potential entrepreneurially, who are tired of punching the clock 9 to 5, who want to make their own kind of decisions entrepreneurially, but to weigh those things out. And you know, and I love to be a fellow sojourner with that. So I'm doing a lot of things, but most important thing that I love the most is being a father and a husband.
Oh, good stuff. How many kids do you have?
I have one daughter. She'll be 4 2 weeks from now.
Oh, such an adorable. Oh, I bet she's adorable.
Yes.
I know you got a rotten man. I know you got her.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Well, it's such good talking to you. I was about to say, I know your dad very well. I mean, amazing man of God. I love him.
Yes.
Very hospitable. Very hospitable. So good to see you, sir. And I look forward to hearing your speech next week.
Sounds good.
Guys, listen, go ahead and follow him. Go ahead and research him and find him. He's pretty much, he's touchable. That's a good thing about it, with all of his knowledge that he has. Don't forget to register for the nonprofitceosummit.com. It is absolutely free. You'll get people like this man of God right here that can pour back into you, especially for our pastors and leaders. You need to connect with him. Book him to come and speak at your church. Book him to hire him as a consultant to help you dialogue your church and shift your mindset. We appreciate Reverend Williams. We really appreciate you for coming on. And we will see you next time.
Dr. Nikki, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.